Commissioner Hay.
Here.
Mayor Johnston.
Here. Please rise with us. Commissioner McNary is going to give us our invocation, and then we'll follow with the pledge.
Good. Great. Yeah. Will you bow with me, please? Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another day of your grace and mercy. We ask you, Father, to join us in this room, every heart, mind, and soul, that you give us guidance, your divine guidance on this day. Father, that you continue to touch our hearts and lead this community, Father, as we go forth. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'll happily accept a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The agenda stands as it is. And there was an addition for anybody who may have looked at it a couple of days ago. We did add one thing to it, but it's online and in your printed copies as well. All right. We have no presentations or recognitions tonight, so we can move right into approval of the minutes. I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, they look great to me. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We do not have any public hearings tonight, so we will move right into general public comments. Now, this is for anything that is not on the agenda. And just because I see two lovely ladies coming in, there are two seats up front if you like. And I'm wondering if, yes, thank you so much. If one of you gentlemen would be kind enough to move over. Thank you so much. All right. So anything not on the agenda today that anybody would like to speak about? Hold on one second. Bree's on her way up.
Are you go? I'll stand.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Ladies.
I didn't think there was anything else. Mayor, I don't have the clicker,
Yeah.
but I'll be happy to use my phone and raise my hand with 1 minute left.
John's out.
Oh, John's got it?
John's got it. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not going to be on there? All
It
right.
will be, John. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right, everybody, so you have 5 minutes to speak. Sorry, Bree, I know you know this, but the counter will be up here rather than on the board.
Gosh, I don't know if 5 minutes is enough.
We'll give you some grace.
Okay, I'm Bree, police social worker. I just remind you that the rescheduled community forum to address resources and concerns, questions over our homeless population and possibly homeless population will be a week from tonight, 6 o'clock at the library. The speakers that were scheduled have given me all their information. They couldn't reschedule, but I have a whole presentation with all of it on there. We'll be excited to see you join the events.
Wonderful, thank you so much, Bree. I appreciate you rescheduling that. That was rescheduled because of the tornado, so a week from today. What's the date on that, Bree? The
28.
28th, thank you. All right, Blaine, you're up.
All right.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm supposed to tell you too, Blaine, you know this as well, but please state your name and your address for the record when you come up for any of your comments.
All right, Blaine Edgell, 309 North Main Street. We have a back alley behind our house, and the students from the elementary school, they walk that every single day twice. After school, they walk that back alley and they walk back to the school. It's a disaster. Matter of fact, when it rains, we have ponds back there you could go fishing in. I mean, it's terrible. And so it's something we drive around the alley right next to ours that's behind the churches. They got theirs done, I think it was last year.
Okay.
And ours is just a disaster. I've lived there 30 years. It's never been touched. We have the garbage trucks that drive back to pick up garbage back there, and it creates these huge divots in the road. And I know you're talking about road issues, but if you could take a look at it, it's not a very long stretch of a road to be repaired. But there is one church on one end, and then there was a business on the other. There isn't now, but there's probably 5, 6 homes on that alley, so it's a short alley. It desperately needs to be fixed, especially because the students walk it every day.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Talk to Amy.
Yeah, we can chat at some point. Yeah, if there's school kids involved, we should probably too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else for general comments about anything not on the agenda?
Good.
So sorry, I almost got rained out, but I'm not
You
gonna
made
melt.
it.
I'm not gonna melt. My mother said you're gonna
You made it.
No, sure. Anyway, Charlene Zavala, 16916 Bridget Drive, Three Rivers, Michigan. And I'm concerned about, and sometimes people don't see things. I think you're doing a great job with this tornado mishap. I know people that don't live here don't understand how devastating it was. I mean, you have a doctor's appointment, but you can't get into the doctor because it's closed, and the dentist, the same thing, blown out, and stores and, things that aren't open anymore, and it's sad. But I'm very concerned about the West Chase Apartments, and that's
West
located
Chase.
across the street from the health department, next to the hospital, and then they got a doctor's office on the other side. And we have seen progress over there because the doctor's office was really totally wiped out. It's so sad. And you can't even tell it's the West Chase Apartments anymore because the trees have all been taken out and all the landscaping and the sign. They're gonna put a sign up called the Mishaps, the one left behind. But anyway, there are about, I know about at least 7, maybe 8 people that live in there, so I feel like it's like going to the dog pound. You can't pick out which puppy you're gonna help because they all need help, and it's so sad. There's at least 6 apartments that were really damaged. I mean, like total, like the door wall, the glass door wall blown out, and bedroom windows blown out. So therefore, they lost their sunlight, and they have boards on. They're boarded, and they can't see out, and it's really getting depressing in there. And the carpet's been torn out of those 6 to 7 apartments. There's a 7th one that's kind of a little bit bad, but the whole place is getting bad. The roof's leaking. It's got blue stuff on the top, but there is on the one end the torch come off now, and water's leaking inside, and they just don't know what to do. They're senior citizens and some disabled, and so they've been waiting and waiting. The owner lives out of state. I believe it's Minnesota, and he had this game plan. He was going to bring people in from his state to fix it, be cheaper or whatever. That didn't happen. He gets blowing them off, and they're still paying the rent. And it's been, I think it's like 46 days or whatever. She's keeping track of days. It's so sad. The one that I'm talking to mostly is supposed to Mark, and she walks with a cane. She has to wear shoes all the time in the apartment because they're glass. They got most of it up, and we went over and blew a lot of it out with a real strong leaf blower and whatever, and got her TV hooked back up. But she's living in the apartment. She was at my place for 2 weeks, but I live in a bi-level, and it was real hard on her. I didn't know what to do. Put an elevator in, couldn't get a guy out. But anyway, so she's really concerned, but I'm concerned about the others too. There's several that I'm really worried about. They are getting really depressed because they can't get any answers and they don't know who to turn to. And I know that you had suggested somebody, and somebody else had suggested to call Safe Belch, which is affiliated kind of through the city, but they weren't open on Fridays. But anyway, when 2 different people talked to them, and it's like, we don't handle that. What do you want? And it was really like, I don't know what to tell you.
Right, yeah, I don't know if safe was the right.
And so anyway, they're sitting there, and she has no carpet. Those 6 apartments have no carpet. They're on cement floor, and it's hard on their feet. Some of them are having walking problems now, and they just no sunlight, and they don't know what to do. And now we're concerned too because now it's starting to leak, and if it were to the one end, quite really, they have a swimming pool. The other end would just have a little rain. But what if a fire broke out? They cannot get out the door wall. All they have is the one door to get into the hall, and there's one entrance at one end and then way down the other end. She's getting real concerned about that. She's not sleeping well because of here's something. Oh my God, is it a fire? Is whatever. Nobody can cook in there because you don't want a fire. So I'm just looking for if anybody has any guidance on who she can contact.
See me afterwards. I mean, there are services out there that help tenants that are in need out there, and there are some resources that are out there. Legal Aid of West Michigan, and some of the other ones can answer questions of what their rights are there. They have workshops and clinics and information that they can give to those people or to you. But if you want to see me afterwards, I can do that.
Can they kind of somebody do something about the owner to get him to
Well, I don't know the fact that, whether they do, but they can give them the rights of what they can do and how they.
But they still have to pay their full rent.
Well, definitely get together with TJ because I was a renter for quite some time and I had some bad landlord issues myself. And one time the city of Chicago helped me when I lived there, and then one time the city of Kalamazoo did, but they were very specific issues that were very different. Another time I needed a lawyer. So it might be a point in time where you need a lawyer. TJ's giving me the nod here.
Yeah,
Talk
so
to
Legal
TJ.
Aid of West Michigan has resources for people who may not be otherwise have them. And so in the city, I think has some of that information, but it's under the Landlord Tenant Rights Act. So.
And she's a real proud person too, and she's, you know, if I could find some money, it's not the money, it's just,
Well, let's figure it out.
I'm not living in a safe home and not breathing well, and she's,
Sure.
and love.
Thank you, TJ, for
Yeah,
setting up.
so-
If you guys for some reason don't connect afterwards, I'll put you two
All right,
together.
thank you.
Okay?
I go through town and see other people, there's so many people that just out there
Sure,
walk. So we
sure.
can't forget about those people that are, we see glass windows going in, but not there. So anyway,
Thank
thanks
you.
everybody's attention.
Touch base with TJ. Thanks, Char.
That's my seat.
Anybody else for a non-agenda item, just general comments? Come on up, Shannon.
Hey, my name's Chad Ely. Live in town. Live in town and 400 North Grant. I was going to mention some stuff about the homeless, but I think I'd rather hit the meeting first, and I've heard some other things. So pending that info, great. The other thing I was going to mention tonight was post-tornado cleanup of rivers and general ditches, stuff like that. There are a lot of people here in the community that I think would love to volunteer for something like that. We just need a bit of a resource, right? Whether it's a dumpster here or there. I mean, I opened my garage door the other day and one of those big chunks of styrofoam blew in. And I was like, where'd this come from? Well, I think we all know. So that being said, if there was a way for us to be able to, and I know the floodwaters are high right now, and it's just a mess. But once things calm down and the water goes down a bit, maybe we can kind of get together as a community and clean up some of these things that we pride ourselves on, right? Nobody wants to kayak down a river full of trash and styrofoam.
No, it is
right?
very dangerous too.
Right, so that's all I had to say tonight, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I can tell you a little bit, and Joe, please chime in as well, because we've talked about this a little bit behind the scenes. We know that there's a lot of debris in the rivers. There's one particular area off South Main where I went down to see it, and there's just pieces of twisted metal. Unfortunately, Sarah McCarthy, who's usually here, she came with me, and she's not here today because she can speak up as well. And at first, when I first got the call to go down there, I thought, oh, I can just get some kayakers to come and help me. I'm a kayaker, no problem. This is way beyond anything that just physical human beings can do. We're gonna need machinery. So I reached out to Joe, and he had partnered with Amy, and I don't see, oh, there's Amy. And they're working with Eagle, DNR, question mark, agencies, I'll say agencies, to start getting that taken care of. But as for the stuff that just humans and kayakers could get, I would love to put together a couple of days to do that, because I think people will even come from Kalamazoo to help us. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Joe, let's figure some things out and start getting that advertised, okay?
Yeah.
All right, sounds great. Thank you, Chad, I appreciate it. All right. Sir, are you ready to come on up?
Am I last on the group?
Maybe.
Maybe. Dwight Lewis, 500 East Cushman Street.
Okay.
I'm all off of that. I'm all ready for summer. We got some really neat events coming up. I'm trying to organize, and I'm working with Angie for the upcoming cruise-in. I'm trying to organize a bigger cruise-in every week. There's a huge one north of us. There's a huge one south of us. Weekly. We have a little one out on the highway right now. We have a cruise-in coming in May 14th, and that's after the two big shows that start. If you want to Google up Denoyer Ford in Vicksburg or the Menden Dust Off, those are both shows coming up the first Saturday and the first Sunday. That gets it all started, and from there on you can go to a car show every day of the week. The music festival is going to be a car cruise-in on the east parking lot. We're going to have live music. Mark Higgins has a band. I always forgetting the name, but he's a country western band, and he's really good, and he's energetic, He does the old stuff, he does the new stuff, and everything else. And one thing you might want to consider if you like to have music, because I only recently found out about this, but the Eagles out by the high school there, on the third Sunday of every month, starting around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they have a jam session. I was there Sunday. They have 12 different instruments playing off and on. It's all live music. There's no amplifiers. It's just flat out straight music. And if you've never heard these kind of music without the big amplifiers going and everything, you will be blown away. Totally different. They even had an accordion there this week. So that's coming up. This car show's coming up. You mentioned some help. I could always touch base with Terry over at Riverside. He has been, he's the guy that organizes and helped with all the stuff that the Riverside Church has been doing, the cleanup. Samaritan's Way or Samaritan's.
They're already gone.
Yeah.
Yes, they were amazing.
I just can't believe what they did. I don't usually give too much to different charities, but I will give some donation money to them, so that's another thing about. With the music, for the music festival coming up, we still gotta have music funds. We just don't have $100,000 to bring in. There's some really, really good people out there that would come in. There might be $5,000 to just come and play one night, maybe more, I don't know, but I've got some groups that I would like to contact, but if there's no money, there's no use contacting them. Mark Higgins, I think he's just donating his time for this next show, I don't know. No, we're paying him, okay? He would do it because like I say, he does the Sunday things out with the Eagles all the time. And there's no money there. He doesn't have collection jars out. He doesn't have put money in. I mean, he didn't do that at all. He starts at 2 o'clock, and they don't quit. They don't take any breaks. If they do, they'll take one guy here will take a break over, and you got it open to the public starting at 2 o'clock. They've got liquor, they've got beer, they've got light food, pizza, and a couple things like that. They don't have a full kitchen. But check that out. I'm so excited about this show coming up, this cruise in. It'll be Thursday the 14th, starting at 4, probably go till at least 7 or 8, maybe later. Hopefully we get good weather, and then the car show's coming up. And every Wednesday we're out on the highway right there by Dairy Queen. If there's a couple cars out there, just stop and say hello. Might even buy you an ice cream. Thank you very much. You bet.
Thanks,
Thanks, Mike.
Looked like that was the end of general comment, but anybody else that we missed? Anybody think of anything? No? All right, I'm gonna close for general comments. All right, so next up, we're moving right into our business. We have our budget amendment number 3 for the fiscal year. Come on up, Bobby. Oh, I have that same shirt in 3 different colors. Me too. All right, you wanna give us an intro?
Yeah, it's just our normal budget adjustment time. We try to get them in quarterly. A majority of what you see is stuff that you guys approve throughout the meetings, and then we put it all together in one report for Bobby's E's and for the auditor's E's to track everything that's happening.
Okay.
We're hitting a point in time in the year where you start to see some that are adjustments for actuals. So some of the things we do, we have to guesstimate how much it's going to be, and then when it actually comes in, if it's a significant difference from what we thought, then I'll put it in here so that you guys can see it. So there's a few of those that we're starting to do actual cost, actual what came in.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. All right, sounds easy. I took a really good look at this, and I mean, most of it was just stuff you gotta do, right? I don't wanna say a critique, but just one thing I noticed is that it kind of seems like we're managing and keeping things afloat, and I'm curious, like, in our next budget, are we looking more to figure things out beforehand so that maybe we're coming in under budget rather than over more? And I'm really looking forward to our budget meeting together.
What do you mean by we're managing?
Well, it seems like so many different projects that we've had to approve have come in way over what we budgeted. So we're just kind of like, fill in the gaps. So in next year's budget, when we look at, say, a project that we think is gonna be, for example, $100,000, those projects have been coming in at 120, 130, that kind of percentages. Are we considering raising our limits, and where we think it's gonna be this, let's go a little high and rather come in under than over?
Yeah, when bids come in like that,
Mhm.
then
So what I mean, are we using that to learn from for next year as well?
Yeah,
Okay,
for all, moving forward.
okay, all right, glad to hear it. Okay, any other questions or anything from the crowd? No, all right. I'd be happy to entertain a motion to.
So moved.
Support?
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries, thank you. All right, here's one I've been waiting for about 13 years. So we have an amendment to our charter, chapter 5, for general licensing and permits for our massage license, and just the way our ordinance is written for massage. TJ, do you want to give us the brief?
Sure, just be clear, not charter, ordinance amendment, not charter amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry, it said amendments to chapter 5, general licensing?
Yep, of the city.
Oh, city code, I'm sorry,
Yes,
my
yes,
mistake.
Yeah, no, fine.
Thank you,
Don't forget.
appreciate the correction.
So, we had a meeting sometime back regarding licensing a massage business. I believe it was special exemption use permit that was being asked to license a business as a permitted. The discussion came up. Consensus from the commission was to maybe update the ordinance. So the establishment is required to be licensed by the city. We have to have a permitted use, or else a licensed massage therapist would have no place to work. So we went through the ordinance. We tried to update the language, remove some of the old language. Now the massage therapists are licensed and regulated by the state of Michigan. We changed the old terminology of massagist to massage therapist. We went through where it talked about the individual regulation of the individual therapists themselves and eliminated those and included essentially the same requirements for the business to be operational, and just kind of cleaned up the language, kind of consistent with what the commission had asked. This had been circulated through city staff to make sure, if there was anything else that they saw. There were some additional language catches and updates that we made, but I think this meets what the commission had requested. And so this is for first reading. I did put it in red line form for the commission to review so they could see exactly where all changes were made, what was deleted, what was added. And if this passes first reading, it'll come back next meeting for the second reading, and then 21 days later it becomes the effective ordinance.
Sounds great. TJ, you did a great job on this, and any staff that helped, thank you. It was wonderful. Does anybody from the crowd have any comments? No, I didn't expect it. Anybody up here, any comments or questions?
Good job, TJ.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a really, really good job. This is fantastic. I have just one thing that I didn't bring up before, and I didn't realize it until I saw it.
Sure.
I noticed that the hours have massage therapists closed from like 2 a.m. till 8 a.m.
Yeah, that's up to the commission. I did a
Yeah.
brief look at some other areas.
Mhm.
It was kind of where they were.
Okay.
Again, that's a decision that the commission can make. That's a policy decision. If the commission wishes for that to be changed, we can include that for the second reading.
Okay.
And that would be the hours of operation. So if the commission would like to discuss that and make that change, we can do that.
I'd like to begin a discussion and just see what the rest of the commission thinks. It's so funny that, Joe, you and I knew each other before I even knew who you were. You were just Joe, and that's it. When I was in massage school, and you and your friend Phil would come into Boundary Waters Cafe when I worked there very, very early in the morning. They were often my first customers after running and doing your workouts and such. And I remember bringing up to you, I believe we opened at 6, that and I was also studying personal training at the time too in my massage course, that if I were to be your personal trainer and you got a Charlie course and I put a hand on your leg, if it wasn't 8 o'clock yet, I would be breaking the law. So just for the fact that some people like to get up early, I would love to consider moving it back to 6 a.m. just in case anybody wants to work in that kind of a setting where somebody's working with someone, who might be working out and wants to stay compliant. And also, personally, I don't think we need to go until 2 a.m. I looked around, I couldn't find anybody open past like 7. I think 10 sounds good to me as somebody who's kind of, still sort of a part of that, but I'm absolutely interested to hear what the rest of the committee thinks. I'm sorry, the rest of the commission.
Madam Chair, I'd like to speak.
Yes, please.
There are some people who work second shift,
Mhm.
and some people work third shift. So I think the 6 a.m. is pretty solid.
Okay.
But I also think limited to 10 p.m. If there's somebody that gets off at 10:30, they have no source. So 6, and I understand that we're not supposed to address the crowd's questions, but just to put my 2 cents in on that, between the hours of 2 and 6, our police force isn't as heavy, correct?
Right.
So that would put a harder stress on our public servants to have to up their coverage, and then, that's more money that the city has to put out. So that 2 to 6, I think that's the sweet spot. That's just my personal opinion.
Any other comments?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Steve, I'm sorry.
So why was the hours set to begin with? Is that something that the state mandated?
I can't answer why it was the way it was before. I can
too.
opine as to the thought of the 24-hour massage parlors in other areas of the country didn't turn out too well for those communities.
Yeah, I mean, that does make it sound like, what you're trying to get rid of to begin with.
Right.
But at the same time, being that this is simply, what we're doing is basically making it a gym service, like a 24-hour gym, it's basically falling into a physical therapy that's not covered under your insurance category. It's basically, somebody wants to massage your leg at 2 in the morning, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a decision.
If it was 24 hours a day, as long as it's something that's a gym service, like I said, who cares?
Oh, okay. I can remember a massage parlor that was here when I first moved to Three Rivers back in the '80s. It was still under the same ordinance. We're changing all the same stuff.
Isn't this when we began?
A lot of things were changing then because of what was happening in the massage therapy facility. And I think a lot of the language was made to prevent and deter some of the sexual things that were going on. And in saying that, I also like to say that I don't think anybody really needs or would go to a massage therapist at 2 o'clock in the morning because they got a cramp in their neck. You know what I'm saying? Just to, just to deter bad habits. The therapist could have good intentions, but the person coming could have a whole nother concept. And for the safety and integrity of everybody, I would not agree to massage parlor being open until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Anybody else?
I agree with Commissioner McNary. I don't think there's a reason in the world a massage parlor should be open till 2 a.m. So midnight then? Midnight to 6? I say
Midnight is good.
midnight's fine, 10 p.m.'s fine. 2 a.m. is just a little bit
Check the happy meal.
How about 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.?
11's good.
How's everybody good?
11 a.m.
11's good. Go home.
Do we have 11? Do we have consensus for 11?
So what I would ask is that, so there's been a motion to approve, then who made the motion originally? I would
Oh, we don't
suggest
even
that
have-
maybe you request that they.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You did the introduction, we just started talking.
Yep, so when they make it with
Okay.
that modification,
Uh,
and then I can make that correction, so next time when we bring it back,
Yep.
we'll have the hours, if the commission so chooses, 11 to 6, it will stay 11 to 6 in there,
Or
and
close, yeah.
we can move forward that way.
Perfect. Do we have a motion to approve?
Before
I'm sorry.
we do that
Go ahead.
motion, I'd just like to reiterate, we do have factories that second shift ends at 11. That's why I was cautious of the 11. I mean, I understand not going to 2, but at least 12, because I don't know how many people up here on the panel has actually worked in a factory, but sometimes when you get off, your body hurts. And if you can go in and get you a massage, it really sets you up to sleep well and be able to go back to work the next day.
Personally, I feel they have enough time to go before work. And, I mean, if you're really that dedicated to getting a massage,
Make an appointment.
you make
Right.
an appointment and go before work and get it over with.
Commissioner McNary, I completely agree with you. As somebody who studied massage, I think it's very unlikely anybody's gonna be open that late anyway, but I think just having hours that late might give somebody the wrong impression.
Yeah,
So that's why I like that 11 o'clock kind of lands fine with me too. I do see your point about trying to keep people late. I worked second shift from the time I was 11 till I was 36, and I would have been fine to just make an appointment in the morning.
Right, I get that and I understand that, but I also know that as a former college athlete, when I waited the next day, my pains lasted longer. Instead of coming out of practice and getting a massage, it's hard to sleep with those cramps. I mean, and I understand and I support whatever condition goes for you. That's just my 2 cents.
Interesting.
I also look at it from a different perspective. That I think that Commissioner McNary touched on. It's not just about the idea of maybe the parlor being inappropriate. With them being open that late, it's also going to open the door for people who don't have good intentions going there and doing something bad. It's not all one-sided. There's another side of the coin. Sometimes people make really bad decisions with businesses that are open late, especially businesses like that. They might think it's one way, and then when they don't get it, then it can turn violent and get really bad really fast.
I
Absolutely.
can give you a different perspective on that, though, that none of you are gonna really understand. Is you guys are wanting it to be more of a physical thing, right? It's not sexual, right?
Correct.
Well, my pain goes 24/7. And there's plenty of other handicapped individuals' pain that will go 24/7. Not saying that massage is gonna solve it, because it definitely doesn't. But, if there's somebody else's pain that maybe it does solve, where are they gonna go? Kalamazoo?
They're not open that late in Kalamazoo. I couldn't find anybody open past like 7.
But, you're putting that out there that it's sexual. If you put hours on it, it's sexual. If you don't put hours on it, it's just a business.
I don't think putting hours on it instantly makes it sexual. It's also
Well, it makes it something like a bar.
Right. I mean,
You
bars
have
have
24-hour bars.
not here, not in the state of Michigan.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you put limitations on something, you make it bad.
I don't see how putting a limitation on it makes it bad. I think it makes it safe and it keeps things secure and lets people sleep at night.
People feel more comfortable.
Yep.
If it was more of a medical clinic, I could understand keeping it open 24 hours, but it just being a massage parlor, you know what I mean?
We don't say parlor anymore.
Or massage.
All right, well, do we have a motion?
Establishment.
Okay. Clinic, establishment, spa, so on.
It's a salon.
I mean, well, some place, like a salon can offer massage, so, yeah. Like Century does.
It's a spa.
Do we have a motion?
Angel, quick question, are you gonna take comments before you make a motion? Are you gonna open this to public comments? I do have one.
I guess we do have to open it to public comment.
Yeah, it's up to you. The only difference would be, I suppose, if you did the motion and then decided somebody brought up a point, then you may have to
Yeah.
amend the motion. Yeah.
We do generally ask, I think I asked,
Generally
maybe
you
I
ask.
didn't ask. Go ahead, Dwight, come on up. But please address the board and not the crowd.
I might mention one of these days if a
Dwight,
seat opens up.
Please,
Do I
please
look-
address the board.
I'm sorry, go on. But quickly, I think this is a moot issue. I don't think you have a massage parlor and Three Rivers is gonna wanna be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think the only thing that might come up there is like Commissioner Hay, if he has an extreme pain thing at 3 o'clock in the morning, he's got a massage therapist that will come in for him on an emergency. And if she can't because she can't open, then that's wrong. And I don't think in Three Rivers we're gonna have to worry about that. I don't think we have to worry about the sexual things staying open till 3 o'clock. I just don't think there's enough there. And also, you all know I'm into music because I mentioned it, and I spent a lot of time in Manhattan in the Village, and those bars are open 24/7, and they have great music.
Dwight, please stay on topic. I'm sorry, sir, please stay on topic. We're talking about massage therapy.
I'm just saying that I think this is, I don't think it's necessary to make any regulation. I don't think we need any.
Thank
Let
you.
it go, let the massage parlors run as they want, and I don't think it'll be an issue. Thank you.
The point is not really whether they're open or not, it's more of the language.
Right.
I don't care whether they're open or not, it's more if you're changing the language, then
Yeah,
Okay.
be careful.
Then, do we have a motion? That's where we are. I think we've all kind of said our piece. Is there anybody else from the crowd that would like to speak up on this matter? Okay, I don't hear anybody. Would anyone like to?
What hours did we end up with?
We had sort of come to 6 to 11, open at 6 a.m., close at 11 p.m., but, I mean, we could take a motion on anything. We
We could
make a
make it-
motion for whatever you want.
Make it midnight,
Midnight, yeah.
make it midnight to 6.
Would you like to make that motion?
Sure,
Okay,
so moved. I move for 11 to 6.
wait, 11 or midnight?
Oh, midnight. Keep getting back.
All right, so the motion is that, we want it open from 6 a.m. to close at midnight.
Session.
All right, we have a second.
Support.
Everybody supported, all right. With any more discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries.
So I'll bring that back, so next time it'll be the second reading, and that provision will be the only modification made. So we'll accept the red line changes, fix any numbering issues there to make everything coincide, but other than that, that'll be the only change.
Wonderful. Thank you, TJ. You did a really good job on this. I appreciate it. And everybody who helped.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, scrolling and my computer is slow. Sorry, everybody. It's picking the Wi-Fi back up. All right, now we have the moment many of us have been waiting for, our farmer's market application. Angie, are you taking point? Or Charlie's here? Do you want, I don't know what you guys want to do, whatever you want to do.
Well,
Do you want to just give us a description of what's going on?
I know a little bit, but not a lot. That's why we're
Okay.
here, okay? Because Joe's memos, it's accurate.
Okay.
And it reflects where we are operationally and as a governance standpoint. But just to clarify, this is not a second farmer's market. The idea was more like a vendor-style market, like artisan goods, cottage foods, crafts, food trucks, some agricultural things or food. It was meant to complement what already exists, not compete with it. And this idea came from some very enthusiastic volunteers. Mr. Charlie over there is one of them, who I truly appreciate. And I just got a little ahead of the process and filled out a permit for Sidmore Park before we had a work plan. And before we could bring it to the DDA board for them to review it and approve it. So I just wanted.
Thank you. I noticed in the minutes of, one of the subcommittees of the DDA, I write it down, can't find it too, that they had discussed it and that, it was promotions, I'm sorry, it's promotions, and that,
Yeah.
Jesse, is it Omen or Oman? How do you say it?
Omen.
Omen.
Yep.
That Jesse Omen was going to take lead on that. I don't see Jesse here, is that correct?
Yep.
Jesse's
It's just,
not here?
She couldn't be here.
Okay. Oh, hey, I didn't see you back there, hi. So the recommendation from the city was no. Initially, it was just denied, and that's sort of how we got to be here.
and the idea was for that location because it already has pavilions, it's, parking. We still have an amphitheater that we need to utilize, we can, it's another option to have it there, so.
That'd be a good one.
All right, let's go ahead and open this up to public comment. And when you guys come up, whenever you want to speak, please state your name and your address for the record. You don't have to be a resident of the city to speak, don't worry about that. And let's come on up. I know there are some folks here that have some things to say.
Still Blaine Edgell at 309 North Main Street. My question would be, what would be the requirements for the vendors? Vendors that are interested in being involved, I think that's a big part of it. Is there going to be a cost involved? I mean, how is that going to work? And I think there's more details that need to be worked out if, we go to a
Work plan. That's why we need a work plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were excited
Okay, thank you.
about the
It
idea.
doesn't seem like they're ready yet.
No.
Okay, who's next? Come on in. When I motion so like the people in front who don't see them don't start getting up too. So.
Hello, I'm Jason Ballou. I'm a board member of the DDA, and I also am chair of the design committee. And I'm also on this very special ad hoc committee for the community market that we have in mind for Three Rivers. We've had several conversations with Huss Market. I know that was a concern of yours. I had a meeting specifically with Rob, the owner of World Fair, and also who runs Huss Market, or the Huss Project, I should say. And after several conversations, I think he understood our goal. It wasn't to compete with him, it was to provide a different day, a different time, different demographic, another way to bring people downtown. Whether you're talking about the historic district or Three Rivers City in general, bring people downtown. Bring people to Three Rivers. So what we've proposed, as you might have read, is the first Sunday of every month. So only 4 Sundays this year. I do think that we did get a little bit ahead of ourselves and didn't come up or didn't provide a work plan for you all to review, to allay any concerns, to really lay out what our objectives were. So I think we owe that to you, along with some other things. I would respectfully request that you table this decision tonight so that we can, in the next week, 2 weeks, get this information to you so you can make a decision. So, thank you.
Thank you. And it's the first, not the last? I thought it was the last Sunday.
Last, sorry.
Sunday.
I'm confusing the movie night at the amphitheater that I'm also managing on the first Wednesday of every month. More info on that.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. It was nice. Anybody's, oh, Charlie's on his way up.
All these civic-minded people, you know there's NBA basketball on there. It's ridiculous. Jessie proposed this woman. She's had to go to a funeral, otherwise she would have been here. She's very capable of doing this. She took the lead on it. Jason jumped in, and I thought, well, I got time. I will help out. I'll do the grunt work and stuff. We didn't do a work plan. We kind of got it verbally, but we thought we'd get it approved first. And then we brought it up in promotions. Then we run it through there, which I didn't think would be a big deal. But 1 Sunday a month. Again, not sure what Huss has anything to do with it. I go there quite a bit. There's people that go there, but it's the same people. They're going to keep going there. But otherwise, you might as well just ask Myers and Walmart and stuff to close up on, Saturday morning when they're there. But I don't see a big issue with that. The reason, Sidmore Park, initially I was thinking, well, why don't we just do it downtown, either amphitheater, but looking at it more, it's just set up for that. I believe that's what it was set up for. Amphitheater really isn't. We could do it downtown, but it's during the summer. It's very nice down there. You got the river, you got the trees, it's very cool. And I've gone over there the last few Sundays when it's been nice over the last month and a half. There's 1 million people over there on the playground walking through. And most of those people I've not seen downtown or even at Huss. I think we can pull those people over. And after thinking about it more, I think we can start, when we promote stuff, we'll have a booth there. This is what's going on downtown. Oh, you like this farmer's market? Let's go to Huss. Huss does great events. I love them. Those guys are great. They do a lot of cool stuff. Jessie, she did the Fall Fest last year, brought in a lot of different vendors. She's really qualified. She kind of has her own little farm out there. Has done a lot of agricultural stuff. She has contacts in the community around the county. She's already got people lined up. We're talking about doing homemade stuff, produce, arts and crafts, things like that, have music, maybe get bingo going, giveaways from the farmers there, pull people in. The goal was, I will go down there and clean it up or get a crew the week before, and then I will stay there and clean it up afterwards, including the bathrooms. Nothing against the city, but they're overworked there. You go down there during the summer last year, and most of the time it smelled like urine back there. The people staying there. I went down once or twice, cleaned things up because some of the transitional guys were telling me There was a lot of satanic stuff there. There was one guy that was writing a bunch of weird stuff. I went down and cleaned that up. But I think I've proven myself over the years. I've run most of the events downtown. I learned something last week at our conference. I kind of believed this over the last few years. Events are important. One, we want to get people downtown, but I think it's also important for the morale, unity, bring people together, because things are kind of divided. I'm not saying racially, but probably more socioeconomic, in my opinion. And I think it's important to bring people together, and I learned the term social friction. That could be a negative thing, but it's also a positive. You bring people together that wouldn't normally come together. There'd be a certain tension to bring people out. And these events we do, Harmony Fest particularly, and a lot of the other ones, you bring people together, they rub elbows, they see each other, they have this common interest, their kids are playing around. And I think it's the same thing, any event like that, especially on a nice Sunday morning, we can do it, and we got people that want to do it. Jesse's a go-getter. I don't want to lose her, because she'll get bummed out. But we got a lot of fun things we want to do, and we're willing to donate our time to do this. I got time in my hands right now. I wasn't foreseeing this a few years ago, but now I am. I think Jason is qualified. He's done a lot of stuff, interior designer, got a degree. Jesse, kind of the same thing. She's got a degree. I got degrees in criminal justice psychology, minors in child development anthropology, certifications in nonviolent crisis intervention, violent crisis intervention, reality therapy, moral recognition, satanic, blah, 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 and go on. So I don't have any problems dealing with people there. We're not asking for anything from the city. I'm not sure, and one thing that disappointed me, again, I love the city, they do great, do we always agree? No. But they didn't talk to me about it. I wish they would have asked, I would have alleviated their concerns or not. And if they got reasons why we can't have it, I'll live with that, we'll go on, that's fine. We're not always gonna agree on everything, but I think it's just another way to provide family-friendly opportunities there. We got vendors that wanna come in for whatever reason they wanna do this one, because it's on a Sunday and they're available and stuff like that. And Jessie, again, has proven herself. She brings in certain people, quality, high quality. She knows what she's doing, and people we've talked to. I have all my trust in her and Jason. And we'll get it lined up if it's approved, but I think we're right where we need to be. Just, I'm just hoping to get it, if we're gonna approve it, do it earlier. Obviously, we're not gonna do it in April now, but we can shoot for May. So, and if there's questions, people can call me, text me, whatever, so.
Okay, thank you. You're sticking around for at least a little while, right? Because we might come up with questions for you. You seem to be the point person.
There are some games starting at 7, so let's get it moving.
All right, we'll do what we can. All right, come on up. Please state your name and address for the record. Welcome up.
Hi, I'm Anna Beardsley, 54562 River Road. I'm not a public speaker, so bear with me. I took notes. 99% of you don't know me. I'm a local farmer. I have a farm stand outside the city, and I was just coming to support the farmers market. I think, or the non-farmers market, the one on Sunday. I do a farmers market on Saturday somewhere else, so I'm not able to do the one, anything here on Saturday. But I would love to come to the community and where I live and, provide fresh fruits and plants, and I do baked goods and dried herbs. Everything's organic. Okay, uncertified organic. I'm not certified, so. I don't think that we would compete with us. I don't think that it's even a competition. I think people love to come to farmers markets, especially Sundays when not a whole lot of things are open. So it'll just give people something to do, and I think it's a great idea. That's all I wanted to say, so.
Thank you, appreciate it. And I just want to clarify, it's Sunday afternoon, correct? What were the hours?
11 to 3.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. Anyone else speaking on the farmer's market? All right, welcome back.
Jed Ely, 400 North Grand. I just think that sometimes these things can be complementary, right? They can. A lot of the vendors that are going to be there could also be at Huss, and a lot of the people at Huss could also be at farmers market. I mean, the more the merrier, I say. know, and if you have twice, a lot of people, like a lot of kids, they're only going to be able to bike down to Sidmore, right? And so that's going to be great for them. A lot of people just walk in. They can get to Sidmore, maybe they can't get to Huss. A lot of people can't get to Sidmore from the Huss area, so it's fantastic. And there's an opportunity for everybody to kind of, you know, share those spaces. So that's all.
Thank you.
Hello, Yolanda Myers, 322 Portage Avenue. I guess I'm interested in it. I'm just kind of wondering what would be the reason why not? Are we not allowed to have more than one time frame or whatever this situation is? And I guess that's my main reason is like, are we not allowed to have two and why the city said no right away? Anyhow, I can't think of what else I was going to say, but that's mainly it.
Thank you, Letta.
Is there a reason why?
It's a great question. I mean, there's nothing like in the charter that says we can't.
Okay.
So, all right. Is there anybody else who has anything to say? All right. I promised that I would do this before. Is there anybody here who isn't necessarily comfortable speaking publicly or didn't prepare anything that would like to show? And I'll do a support and a non-support, or like a for and against. Is there anybody here who's for a farmer's market? Please raise your hand. All right, thank you. Is there anybody here who is against a farmer's market or market of whatever we're calling it? All right, thank you so much. Thank you. I know we're on camera here. We only had hands for yes, we had no hands for no. So for anybody watching at home who's not going to see the crowd. So, all right, is there anybody else who'd like to speak? All right. So, Jason has asked us to consider tabling this and letting them put together a work plan. I think there's a couple of different ways we could go. Obviously, we all have our chance to talk about it and say our piece. I'm very confident in the DDA and Charlie and Jason and Jesse that they can put together a plan pretty quick. That's going to be a good enough plan. Charlie's been running events for longer than I've known him, and Charlie, we've known each other for 15 years. Can you believe it? 15 years. It is. It's absolutely nuts.
Your hair used to be a lot redder.
It was. Yes, everybody, I used to be a ginger. So, how do we feel about either just pausing and waiting till the next? Go ahead, Pat.
Well, are we going to discuss?
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of like trying to get a motion together, but go right ahead. What do you have to say?
I guess nobody has brought up the fact, and it really kind of bothers me. We're talking about Sunday morning.
No, Sunday afternoon.
No, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. To me,
Okay.
that's Sunday morning.
Okay.
That's church day. I know I'm old, and I've lived here all my life. And I really have a problem with the fact that we want to do this on Sunday morning to the early afternoon. If you want to do another market another day, why don't you pick another day of the week? Why can't it be on Wednesday? Why can't it be on Thursday? Why are we going with Sunday when,
Nobody's
you know,
gonna go on Wednesday.
for a lot of people,
That'd be a week.
a lot of
Okay.
people,
Please, guys,
Sunday is
Thank you.
their only family day, their church day. To go to church, to be a family. I mean, I think everybody is losing the total aspect of what Sunday's supposed to be. And we're, you know, having this conflict with a farmer's market when there's other important things, and there is another day of the week, you know, and granted, people work on Sundays, they have to do that. But you can go anywhere to the grocery store any other day of the week. It doesn't, you know, you're not held to a day. So if you can't come on Wednesday, then you go to another one someplace else. Same as you're saying they'll come to Sunday. I just think that maybe it's time, as Three Rivers, as a community, we stop and think about these things. Look how the churches came together when this city needed what it needed for the tornado. They were all here. They all pitched in. So I just think we need to just take a deep breath and maybe table it. give people a chance to talk and come up with a plan.
All right. Commissioner Allen, you're next.
As far as Sunday goes, if you don't wanna go, you don't have to go.
That's right.
So my thing is, I'm all for it, but I'm also for what Jason's proposed. We need a business plan, we need the who's, the whys, the whats, the whens. You know, who's gonna clean it up, who's gonna get the permits for the vendors. You know, all that type paperwork stuff they're gonna have to do. All the layouts, where each and every individual is gonna put their vendor.
We kind of have that though because there was already a farmer's market in that space, so we know how the layout would be.
I'm just saying, at the Sidmore Park, I'm all for it. I think DDA should go back to them. Quick, get us a written plan, business plan, give it to us, and I'll vote yes for it, no problem.
Commissioner Sample, leave next.
I don't want to make a decision based off a church, and it's not because I'm not a Christian myself. I am very proud to admit that, but not all of our constituents in the city are. Not everybody that lives here is religious, so I don't feel it'd be fair to base decisions based on religion. That's not how we govern our country. So I certainly wouldn't want to do it in our city that way either. I agree with Commissioner Allen. You know, if Sunday don't work for you, don't go. On the other hand, I love the idea behind a farmer's market, especially something like that, because I do think it's something fresh and exciting that people would like to see. But on the other hand, I do think it would be, you know, more beneficial to see a better battle plan. You know, like, let's come up with something really strong that we can present to the city, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, no doubt, let's do it. You know, if there's any hiccups or anything like that, you know, I kind of see it as maybe this one just wasn't meant to be, because if we table it and think about it a little bit more, by the time it is ready, it's going to be really ironclad, and everybody's going to want to do it. So I like the idea of tabling it.
First, Madam Chair, thanks for the opportunity to speak. My comment is basically on the rules and regulations. And looking at this, looked over the report, and in staff review of proposed farmers market, the very first thing is lack of formal DDA board authorization. We're claiming this as a DDA function. And it clearly states that the DDA board did not take a formal action to approve the farmers market, which is the first step for the DDA to do anything. It says without official approval, the project is not considered an authorized DDA activity. Staff is obligated to implement only formal approved initiatives. So that in itself is a reason why this isn't a DDA project. So for us to keep saying this is a DDA project, it cannot be a DDA project based off of lack of formal DDA board authorization. And that's in their bylaws, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it is. So with that being said, we would be forcing a board to do something that they never had an opportunity to vote on. And we're not allowed to do that with any board. So that's my biggest concern with this. Now, if they go through the proper channels, got the DDA board approval, and it's an official sanctioned DDA activity, then we can move forward. But without that, we can't even move forward.
That's what we're talking about tabling for.
But also with that, it wouldn't be considered table, it would be postponed. Because when,
We went to a class, we just
right,
learned this.
with the class, tabling something, we have to bring it back up in the meeting.
We can also just never have a motion and then it can just roll, so.
Right. So that's what I'm thinking, like, it's not something that we can move forward on because it wasn't presented properly. I am not against it. But now, the reason why I am against it on Sunday is because if the biggest push is to bring business to our downtown, 95% of our downtown is closed on Sunday. because they're not even open. So if we do it on a Wednesday, then people can come in on a Wednesday, they can go to the farmer's market, then maybe they can go to Roosters or something and eat dinner, go to Lowry's, get a book, go get a GG's cookies, anything that would bring people into downtown for what we're trying to bring people downtown for, to
If
support our
it's set on a
local businesses.
weekday, it's gonna fail before it even starts.
Hold on, Tony. Do you have any more comments?
It's true.
That's basically my 2 cents on it.
Commissioners McNary, you're okay?
Nothing at this.
I lost my train of thought.
All right, so then I guess it's my turn.
I was listening to Tori and totally lost my train of thought.
All right, so you can probably tell that I really want to see this market happen, whatever we're calling it. We brought up some things here. I would never say no to a market on Sunday because of church. In fact, it doesn't even start until 11. A lot of church services are over. I'm out of church at like 11:30, 11:45. I would be heading straight to the market.
We'll
So,
call it the
and
Seventh Day Adventist Market.
Right? And that's what I've heard from a lot of people. I have talked to, I don't even want to try to put a number on the number of people that I've talked to about this, in the past week or so. What I'm a little upset about is that the city just flatly said no and didn't say, hey, come back to us with a better plan. And, we can discuss it more, because this might have never even had to come to the commission. We could have just taken care of things without just giving a flat no and leaving Charlie thinking it was a done deal. This actually came to the commission because I bought some tomatoes from somebody who said, hey, they tried to do a market in Three Rivers and they said no. And I said, who said no? And she said, well, I think the city. My friend was doing it. And I said, have your friend call me. And 5 minutes later, Charlie called my phone. And I had never even heard about it. And I said, well, Charlie, come to commission and, bring it forward and we'll see what happens. So I'd like a little less just flat no and a little more, hey, could you flush this out and bring it back? Rather than just a no. And I'm sorry, Leslie, I know your name happened to be on there, but I know this was a bigger decision than just you, so I certainly don't want to land this on you. And I've said that plenty of times privately too, to not you, but to other people. Like, who's this Leslie? I'm like, don't worry, it wasn't just Leslie, I love Leslie. But would I like a Thursday night market like we had before? Heck yes, that would be my personal favorite, but a lot of people really like Sunday. So I'm not gonna try to push for my personal day. I would love to have stuff on Thursday night because that sets me up for the weekend, and then I'm golden and I don't have to leave the house Friday after work. I don't have to leave the house Saturday. I don't have to go anywhere until Sunday at church, and I've got all my food. But anyway, I think if we just put a pause on this, let the DDA put it through all their proper motions, but also I can say too that if for any reason this were to fail going through the DDA, I don't think it's a bad idea to let 3 well-known residents run a market. So if for any reason that were to happen, I don't think we should say no to Charlie, oh my goodness, I forgot her name, Jason and Jesse, thank you.
We want to go through the DDA, so we'll go through, we kind of had a work plan, but we'll formalize it, do the stuff, and we can probably have everything ready before the one we're shooting for in May, but if you guys want that, then we'll get it for you.
Okay, so the last weekend of May, is that Memorial Day weekend?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. The 26th is a Tuesday. It's my birthday, so I know that. It's not. When's the last year of the calendar?
Yeah, Memorial Day, there's a weekend
After.
after.
Okay. What's
24th, 24th, 25th, 23rd, 24th is Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. Yeah, so Memorial Day itself is the 25th, I believe.
Yes.
So then, can somebody math for me? What would be the date of the final?
May 31st.
Would be that Sunday. The 31st would be that Sunday. Okay. So we do still have a little bit of time. How would everybody feel about potentially, because it sounds like this is going to happen, right? I think you guys, I'm very confident you can put together a plan.
Yeah.
We don't really need to vote on it tonight, but how would the board feel about maybe letting them advertise tentative date of May 31st for opening? Tentative, definitely putting a tentative in there, but to let the public know, hey, it looks like this is going to move forward, pending approval, something like that. How do we feel about that?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
No?
the board needs to vote on it.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Seven.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I'm just trying to not stifle you guys so that nobody knows about it come the end of May. There's still to know whether or not it's actually gonna happen. Okay. All right, Angie, I'm gonna be looking to you for some social media guru-ness when this passes, all right? Please contact me personally. Yes?
Chief, I just want to ask real quick, maybe you can give some insight. Is this going to short staff your department on Sundays by doing this? Is this going to like cause more, any issues for your department or anything, or?
No, I don't think.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to ask that, I didn't want to add any stress to your guys, keep that in mind too.
Ah, Charlie's got it. We can rely on him. Okay. All right, so then we don't really technically need a motion. We don't need to do anything. We kind of have an agreement. Maybe we should have a motion that they bring it back and that we put it on next agenda.
You can't do that until the DDA does what they do.
Okay.
And it may not have to come back here.
It may not even have to come back. Okay, so if the DDA approves, then we're good. So then they don't need to see us again.
Well, the DDA would have to approve it, and then staff would have to review it again, and if they approve it, it wouldn't have to come back.
Okay.
If they disapprove it, they could, and then if the staff disapproves it again, then they could appeal it back here to you guys, just like they did the first time.
Should be fairly, sorry to interrupt, but we're not asking for any extra money, we're charging a nominal fee, which like $20 or something like that. And that should be plowed back into it, that'll pay for everything. The only thing we ask, again, it's gonna be a DDA event, or it's not gonna happen, but, just funneling the money to them, stuff like that, so we can pay whatever we gotta pay, like the musicians, stuff like that.
Okay.
And by signs, nominal stuff.
Okay.
So we're not asking for any great budgeting.
You're not asking for a penny.
It's gonna be self-funding, and the money, anything we get, we plow back in to the market.
Okay. Did you have another question?
I guess nobody's addressed the fact, where are the people gonna park for this? I mean, what parking area are we gonna use?
We
The one
talked
down
about that,
near
we
the
can put
stores?
it in our work plan.
Because there's
There's
no
parking there,
parking
there's
there.
parking across too. So, we have talked about that quite a bit.
Because once the vendors get in there won't be a lot of parking area for the people. I mean, people coming to park.
We can go into detail, but we have talked about that quite a bit.
Because that was a big thing when we did have it down there,
Yeah.
was the parking.
Okay. Is there anything, can we speak with city staff? John, you have something? Oh, okay. Is there anything that city staff wants to see, or that anything where city staff would think it was a no?
I just have a point. We have a fee schedule for the farmers market vendors,
Okay.
and I don't know how we want to address that because it's in
Okay.
the ordinance.
Okay.
If
Yep.
we override that, or how we do a pavilion rental,
Okay.
or,
Can you work with Charlie?
I don't know.
Is that okay? I don't know, like how that.
What'd you say?
We have a fee schedule for the farmers market pavilions,
A fee schedule for what?
for the pavilions themselves.
Okay.
Is it, wait, is it for the pavilion? Because I know that there is language in the charter for the farmer's market. Is it just for the pavilion, or is it for a farmer's market?
For the farmers market.
Okay. Charlie, you can find the charter online. If not, I'll help you.
There were three, I initially went in, when I didn't hear back, I reserved the pavilions, and I noticed the pavilions, three different areas are like $50 a piece, which I guess we have to pay, then we'll pay it, but I didn't
Each
realize.
one, or like the section?
I think each one, as I recall, it's a month and a half ago, when I looked at it and went in, and, tried a roundabout way to do it, but,
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. As long as we can get that worked out, is there anything else anybody can think of that might make this a no?
I'll just have to evaluate the plan. I don't want to speak on it, or.
I just don't want to delay them past May, because if they don't kick off in May, it's not gonna be good. So, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah, I would just like to make the point that it's either a DDA event and the money runs through the city and is audited, or it is not a DDA event and the money can be, however the money is, because it's not my audit.
Okay.
But that'll be something, I'm not sure what you meant when you
No,
said.
that's what I mean, the money's going through the DDA, it's gonna be audited.
I just want, that would be a deal breaker for me. We can't have a DDA event that has money willy-nilly. That is a city event, city
Fair.
funds, I have to get audited, so,
Okay.
so it does add a layer of work, but I just want clarity on.
No willing, no nilly.
No willing, no willing, no willing, sorry.
All right. It sounds very much like we can get this taken care of. Can I ask that if the city decides to decline, that you tell them exactly why and give them an opportunity to do some back and forth? Sure. Okay. All right. Is there anybody who has anything else to say? All right. so we don't need a motion, we don't need to do anything, I think we've just come by consensus to a conclusion. All right, Charlie, you've got your work cut out for you, go watch some basketball? All right, thank you, everybody, I appreciate you coming up. All right, so we can move along to our next part of business. All right. Sorry guys, I'm back to scrolling, let me let my computer wake up. We have, yep. We have our agenda addition. We added something to the agenda yesterday, and it's an ordinance amendment for the recurrent special uses. John, I believe this is probably for you, Tio?
Yes, and I'd first like to say I'm disappointed in all the people leaving for this very important topic. Definitely a change of topic here. This is kind of under the umbrella of deregulation, if you're in favor of that sort of thing. Something that the Planning Commission discussed quite some time ago. But the main idea is that if there's already an approved special exception use permit for a specific property, then we maybe don't need to review it or decide on as much. So unfortunately, that doesn't take away from your guys' final decision. The Planning Commission was being selfish and they just didn't want to deal with it themselves. I'm joking, so don't quote me on that. But you also don't want to take away the opportunity for public comment on these, potentially, even if it's just a new business, but it's the same exact type of special permit. So like, for example, we have the dentist office on Spring Street. So if there was a dentist that had a special exception use permit for that exact same property, then that wasn't the case. It was more of a legal non-conforming use. But if there had been one, and we had this ordinance adopted and already in place, then it would have streamlined the process for that applicant to not have to go in front of both the Planning Commission, where they've already decided that a dentist office at that location is okay, but still come to City Commission for final approval because we are required to update the special exception use permit that gets put on file at the county. So there's still a final decision that has to be made. You still want to have public hearing or at least some public comment within a certain amount of time. And so that's what this is being proposed for. I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is just a first reading, and we'll do a public hearing sometime.
So it just gives a step for people.
Yeah, and yes, it helps the applicants. It makes the city more business friendly. It also helps reduce the amount of time and resources for city staff, in particular for Leslie and for myself, to prepare those reports and put out public meeting notices and all that other stuff. We'll still do one, but we don't want to have to do two with this, and so it's just a streamlining process.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any comments on this one? All right, I don't hear any. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right, any discussion from the board? Sounds good to me. Yeah, it sounds great. We should be doing more things like this to reduce the number of times somebody has to come in and say, I want to be a dentist in a building, sorry, a dentist.
If you want, we can take it a step further and just have the zoning official sign off on it, but that's not what's being proposed.
Well, I mean, honestly, like, if in the case of exactly what you're talking about, if we're taking a dentist office and just, that guy retires and another dentist comes through, why should we make them come back? Should we do two steps, or should we talk about that?
That is a fair point, but that's not currently what is being presented to you at this time. There is some precedence for having at least one public hearing, and in particular because the SU permit is a legal document and needs to be presented to you. I think it's still fair to have it presented to this board.
All right, well, at least we can cut out half the.
Yeah, it's about a reduction of 1 month in time for the applicant, so that's actually pretty good. The Planning Commission will meet once a month, so.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions, anybody? We have a motion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, next up, we have our consent agenda. I actually don't have any questions on this one tonight. For the first time ever. Any Would you like to start?
Sure.
All right.
So we did complete the audit, so, what's that?
I mean, Mr. Did he vote on that consent?
Yeah, we did. Yep. Carried unanimously.
Okay, good.
Correct, right, Leslie? You did fine? Okay.
So Leslie and, we did go through all of the different boards, through the charter, kind of audited it out. I do believe we're in a position to reopen the appointment to boards. We have looked, so a couple things. One issue that came up was that of non-residents serving on certain boards. What I would point the commission to, and I do believe there was previously, city attorney opined on the issue of talking about if a board has a scope of interest that extends beyond, that a non-resident can be on there, up to 3 non-residents, provided the majority of that board is actually residents of the community.
Yes.
The one that was in question is the cemetery board. I am of the opinion that that scope of interest goes beyond the city limits because non-city residents can purchase plots. There are plenty of non-resident family members in turn there.
Okay.
So you have a lot of non-residents who utilize that cemetery. And scope of interest is very broadly defined, and it does 2 things by casting the wide net. One, it ensures you have a full board, as evidenced by the minutes from the meeting that were a year old because there was not the ability to gain consensus. And I think that was one of the conclusions city staff drew from past experience was the more broadly that those are defined in red, the more opportunity to fill these vacancies and to keep them going.
Okay.
So I do believe that scope of interest extends beyond that, beyond the city limits for that board. Now, that is under section, under chapter 7 of the charter, specifically 7.13 talks about, and that is 13G. So allows up to 3 non-members on advisory boards as long as the majority of the members on each board are residents of the city. So,
So let's pause there for just a second because I want some clarity. So as long as there are a majority residents, so let's say a board has nobody on it, right? And 3 non-residents apply. Do we go ahead and start the board or there's 1 resident and 3 nons?
I mean, I would, if you can't get people on it, I would recommend taking what you can get and try to then backfill and get four residents on.
What does the language state though?
The board can't meet because you lack a quorum anyway. So if you appoint 3 to the board, that board can't do anything until you get the rest. So what you can do is you can put 2 on, wait till you have the 3 and then add the 3rd non-one. So once you've got the majority, then bring back and appoint the 3rd non-member or non-resident.
Okay, that makes sense. But what I'm most concerned about is just making sure that we still have a majority of city residents on our city boards and that we don't have a group of people who don't live here making decisions that could potentially affect how our tax dollars are spent.
Sure. Now, the issue I think that was identified through the audit was people who move, people who pass away, people who get off the board, people who stay on the board, that just get missed over time.
Or the momentary changes.
Yeah, and they're kind of in flux. If they don't get caught, for instance, if you had 4 and 3 on a board, so you have 3 non-residents, and 2 residents leave and drop out of the board, I'm not sure, that's where the problem is. You kick people off of the board at that point, even though the charter doesn't necessarily put that as a reason for removal. When you read reason for removal, it doesn't say change in board composition is not under 2.93. That's not a reason for removal.
Right. But do we still have a fair quorum then?
I think you still have a fair quorum because remember, most of these boards are advisory to the commission, and so there's really nothing going to happen that the commission's not going to be able to override and make right. So if there is a decisions that you're going, wait a minute, this is not in the best interest of the city. This commission is, this is an advisory opinion back to you. So you have the ability as the commission, essentially as the overrider, the veto of those. So there is a check and balance there, but your point is well taken, especially in today's transient world where people come and go. It's not necessarily people are here for 30 years and never move. So I think what is a been identified as maybe better tracking of that.
Yes, please.
And so the other then that led into the next issue that was raised, worried about, well, we're not in compliance because they're not meeting when they're supposed to. Well, I don't necessarily think that that's a function of the city not being in compliance as much as that is not having quorums for the boards to meet. So to your point, if we don't have enough for a quorum, they can't meet, they can't create minutes. So it's not that those who are on the board aren't available, it's that they can't meet because they don't have a quorum to meet. I don't know the answer to that problem. It's just getting more civic participation.
Yes, just getting more people to join.
Correct.
So, okay.
Which goes back to, I think, casting a wider net and trying to be more, I guess, find those areas in which the scope of interest does extend beyond the city limits. Now, there are some areas, for instance, historically downtown, very clear on that language what is required. On some of the boards are very clear. Yeah. Some of those are very clear to talk about the way that should be. But a lot of these charter-created provisions and other boards that the city has created under ordinance, which it is allowed to do have that scope of interest language that gives the city flexibility on those.
Wonderful.
So the next issue came up was potentially duly appointed.
Yes.
I only found, I believe it was one of those sections in which it was an alternate on one board. He was on, well, I think some of those were no longer on, so they kind of purged out, they were no longer members.
They were still listed as members. Do we have an accurate list, Leslie, of who's on boards?
Yeah.
We do.
So, yeah, she does have an accurate list.
Okay.
So in that situation, what?
Because if it wasn't updated, then
Right.
then that's just, where we're at.
Well, I think the question would be on the application, because we've also talked, and I think Leslie agreed that she's going to start working on revising and revamping the application. One of the questions can easily become, do you currently serve on any other board? So right there, that can address it. But my suggestion on that one was contact an individual, indicate which board you want to stay on, and just ask them, remove from the other one, and ask them to step down. I don't think it'll be an issue with that individual.
Okay.
The one board that individual is on is the local officers compensation committee, which meets every other year. And he's an alternate on another board.
Wasn't there somebody from the library board on too? I'm gonna get the name wrong, so I'm not gonna say, because I'm not sure. I don't have my notes in front of me here. I trust you to do this.
Oh.
I trust you to get it right.
Yeah, Vicki Worleman is on library, and then local officers compensation commission, but she hasn't been sworn in, so.
Okay.
That was the reason I said that one is not necessarily board member.
Isn't there, I know
The other-
compensation board, and then, there's a few.
And the local officer compensation committee is a little bit different because that is also a state, that's governed by state statute.
Yeah.
And so there's a bleed over there as to whether that supersedes the ordinance, because that doesn't prohibit dual appointment.
But our charter does.
Well,
unless it's.
right, and
yeah,
so,
right.
and so there's an argument of preemption there.
Right.
My point is, to be safe on that one, it meets once every other year. You might as well ask the individual, and, that's a fairly unintrusive board, it doesn't meet that often, to find somebody to do that, just to be safe on that, because that recommendation does recommend your pay, so.
Yeah, exactly.
As the commissioner, so, that was.
Okay, thank you. And then also, I just heard you start to say that Leslie is going to be working on a new application.
Yep.
Excellent.
With some suggestions on maybe other ways to, she had some really good suggestions that I think she'd come up with, that I think, once that application is done, we can present that.
Fantastic.
And so like I said, I think you're free to start appointing people to boards now.
Okay.
The issue, the last thing I wanted to touch on was the commission raised a concern about redacted material to them. So my suggestion on that would be that the clerk make available in their office for a week prior to the meeting that information that any commissioner can stop in and review.
Okay.
Because a lot of that information is protected information.
Sure.
And that way, we're not putting you as commissioners in a position of holding that protected material on your own servers or your own information, or accidentally getting disclosed inadvertently. And that way, it's within the city, it's in the four walls. They either call Leslie or the clerk, come on in, they'll have a file to look at, so you can take a look at that unredacted information. Because you are entitled to take a look at that. That way you can see that, and and that would be available the week prior to, or whatever time is decided, so that information's available to you. And currently, I was told they have not been doing active background checks.
Okay. Then let's take that language
Yeah,
out.
no,
Or, like, TJ, I mean, I think there's good reason to maybe do that. I mean, we can't necessarily put our name on somebody, at least run them through.
So you could do the free, if the commission wanted to, you could do the free iChat check. We couldn't use the law enforcement information network, we could not run them through Lean for this purpose. Correct, chief? That would pop his audit pretty bad with Lean.
Okay, I'm curious. When I was a volunteer for TRAM, they told me that they background checked me through the police. This is 100 years ago, but like.
Not anymore. So they probably used to do fingerprints.
Okay.
So some would do the iChat where it's through the state police, but it's anybody, you can run an iChat on somebody if you have the proper information.
Okay.
I
Then
think
could we put that language in there that we will background check you through this iChat thing?
a public criminal background check can be ran, yeah. Now, the limiting factor to that is gonna be it only is in Michigan.
Okay.
So it's not, we don't have the ability at this point to run, every other state, unless it's, some states have a similar background check. I'm not looked into a national database, but then again, if the commission would like that, we can put the language in there that something will be ran and looked at, but. Yeah.
The nationwide or just the state? Just the state.
Just the state's fine.
I'm fine with that too.
And so, but.
We're gonna get a lot more people on the boards now.
So I do think moving forward, the city, I am very confident in Leslie, and honestly, looking at that, there may have been a little confusion, but I don't think we were as bad off as maybe it was thought. I do think that we're in a really good position. I think that, like all things, a revision of some of these applications makes sense.
Wonderful.
And some suggestions from, the staff on the ground that are dealing with these regularly, have a lot of good ideas that they would put, so when the application comes forward for you to look at, or, when they show you, one of the suggestions was, hey, put a provision in there of reason of interest as opposed to requiring them to appear at a commission meeting, because sometimes people can't make a Tuesday night meeting because the meeting that they're looking to make is a Thursday, or, it's a different night of the week. And so that also, again, casts that wider net for applications. So that was something staff came up with.
I would love to see people go to a meeting of the committee they're trying to be on, if possible, so that they know. Because didn't we just have somebody get on a board and then quit right away and never even go to a meeting ever? Is that what happened? I think it was a cemetery, right? Where they immediately quit, and maybe they just found out oh, it's at 2 o'clock on Wednesdays and I work till 5 or whatever it is. It's something to think about,
But I mean, the struggle of getting participation is not unique to.
Oh, it's not.
Every place struggles with getting full board participation for one reason or the other. But I do think that at this point in time,
we're good to go.
Yep, the commission is good to move forward with those appointments. And I think the only one that is not brought forward by the city manager is the planning commission, which was identified, which is appointed by the mayor and then ratified by the commission, which we did last meeting, I believe, for one.
Absolutely. Some of the published stuff, though, did say that the mayor appoints on our website.
Right, but again, I'm just going based on what the law is on that. So technically, you're appointing them after they're approved. So I guess, I'm not sure what it means by that, but I do know that.
Well, yes, you know what it means is somebody appoints and then the rest confirm.
Right.
Essentially. So.
But generally, what happens is it's recommendation to the mayor. Then you put them forward, and that goes to because the ordinance talks about being brought forward and then to the commission votes, and that is again.
All right.
Whether or not, I think the idea is that it's supposed to bring back all of those who've been interested. My only concern with that is almost to the point that you said, if this person expressed interest, I think it says over the last 2 years, right? So a year ago, you hate to bring somebody up for appointment that applied a year ago, and they're like, well, either we no longer live here or I have no other interest. So, but again, I think keeping a running list is more what the ordinance was talking about.
Wonderful. Leslie, I'm very anxious to see what you have for an application. Tell you about it.
So the city commissioners don't have to go through a background check, but a volunteer board member does?
We have to at least be bonded, so I don't know what they needed to do to bond us.
That doesn't make sense advisory board.
There is certain criteria for the commission that they have to, when they do their affidavit, they can't be, there are certain things that they are required at the election when they register to vote, run for that, if they get convicted of a felony while in commission and things like that. But, yeah,
Right, what about, like, if we get
they can't be in default to the city, they can't be in debt to the city, so there are certain things that,
City commissioners have to go by?
yeah, for sure.
So, and also, as for like the background checks, I'm in favor of at least some kind of background check. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have Jack the Ripper trying to be on whatever board, our parks board or something, but I would also want parents to be comfortable that if they're putting their children, with a volunteer, that like, somebody's at least check these people out a little bit. So, I don't think it's terrible to do something. I don't know. That's kinda how I feel. Do you have a feeling on that?
Oh, no, it's just fun.
All right, so thank you, TJ, I appreciate that, and thank you, Leslie, too, and whoever else has been working on it, thank you so much.
Mostly Leslie, she definitely has the, she was able to dig out a lot of that information and summarize it great, so that was.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, any commissioners have anything to say tonight? All right, Commissioner Stanfield.
As always, I want to thank our first responders. For a lot of people who don't know, just the other day there was an individual who almost drowned in the river, a kayaker, and thanks to our first responders, you guys went right to work. We appreciate you, and I'm going to sing your praises every time I'm here. I've said that 1,000 times. Same thing with our police department. Same thing with our city heads. Bobby, you're killing it. Amy, you're killing it. But I do want to address something I've seen on Facebook. A lot of people are complaining about the speeds of the city trucks. I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook. But I gave my word that I would address that tonight, so I wanted to do that. More specifically, it was on Lincoln, South Hooker, and Constantine Streets. They said that the city trucks are flying pretty good through there. So I gave my word that I would say something tonight and let you know. So there's that. And also, I'm sure it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I always try to be very fair. Always try to be very, very fair. Sometimes I don't do a good job of that because my own quirks get in the way. It is what it is. But I'm also to the point where I'm tired of being unfair. And so, during our tornado and stuff, there's something that's been bothering me, so I want to address it tonight. I thanked everybody at the city level, except for Joe. And Joe, I wanted to offer an apology and say I'm sorry that I didn't say thank you for the hard work that you do. I know that you were busting your butt behind the scenes. I feel embarrassed that I didn't offer that to you sooner. I know that there's a lot of people who are probably going to be like, oh, here's the good old boy system. No, it's just a matter of wrong and right. And I never told you thank you for what you do. So I wanted to offer that tonight. So there's that. You can hate me for it if you need to. That's fine. But I'm going to do what I feel is right, and that's that.
You don't have to stick your neck out. And I think Amy's crew didn't get enough.
That's true.
Didn't get enough.
They busted their behinds.
They worked tirelessly. And, they had some help, and they worked well with another community.
I agree.
But those guys put in some long days or hours to get us back on our feet.
And I did try to play devil's advocate just a scotch and say that, hey, if the city trucks were moving slower, you'd complain about them not doing their job fast enough for you. So, yeah, that was it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Anyone else?
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Anybody remembers that that's what today is?
Cinco de Mayo?
Cinco de Mayo,
May 5th.
That's a May 5th.
Oh man, I must have had too much fun on yesterday's holiday.
You can say that. You can say that the next. Gotcha. You can elaborate. I'd bring a little humor to this meeting.
Joe, anything from you? No? All right. All right, well, I guess that's about it. I don't have much to say tonight, so I'm just really pleased with the changes that we've got going on here. We're getting things cleaned up, things are looking great, and I'm super excited. And at this point, I would be thrilled to entertain